Hello and welcome to the San Diego Comic-Con at Home panel recording for learning through role-playing games, brought to you by the Game Academy. My name is Aaron Vanek. I am on the board of directors of the Game Academy. You will be hearing from Emily Nguyen Hoy, who is our social media coordinator on the Game Academy. You'll be hearing from Keenan Kibrick, who is an educator and one of the game masters for the Game Academy, also on our advisory council, and Fiona Renee, who's another board member of the Game Academy. What we have for you is a recording of a role-playing game that I ran called Dreamland, and the four of us will be commenting on that. So enjoy. So we're going to be playing a game called Dreamland. It's by Jason Bradley Thompson. One of its main mechanics is word use. Words are power, and in using words in flowery speeches, your role-playing characters are able to do wondrous and magical things in the land of dreams. Please introduce yourselves. Let's start with Vance.
Yeah, I'm Vance Bannon. I am an avid D&D player, and you can find me at my drag Instagram at glitteress_the_queen.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just honored to be a part of this game. My name is Shane Yoon. You can find more info at me at shaneyoon.com.
Hi, my name is Herman Gambier. I'm an actor, player, stage, and screen, and you can follow me at Herman Gambier.
I'm Fiona Renee. I'm on the board of directors alongside Aaron for the Game Academy, and we are going to play some games that a lot of us have never played before, so this is new, and I'm excited. Here we go, Dreamland.
Hi, I'm Scott, and I have a website too, scott.com. So you just have to use 7 T's. But yeah, I do have a whole bunch of different stuff. There's like 7 of me, which is why I like the number 7. And one of them is a retired rapper, so y'all are totally going down with this game.
So we're gonna start a real clip from the game, introducing characters. Here is our Roll20 site. Renee, the midwife, Nith, the chandler, Yama, the soldier.
Am I seeing this somewhere?
It's on no, because I haven't given you the option to see it yet. So
we're basing who we want to play based off of what they are and what their name is. We don't get to see them or know anything else. Okay.
Yes. And that's somewhat intentional.
Okay.
You'll be able to. That's somewhat intentional.
Okay. So say the name. Say it again slowly.
Yep. Sombeline, the midwife. Nith, the chandler, Yama, the soldier, Siron, the troubadour, Athark, the apothecary, Mohantis, the cobbler, and Razahan, the stable hand. I will go over these again.
So typically when most people run a D&D game, they think, oh, I need to create the characters, and that's totally fine. A lot of what I've seen teachers do is have the kids create their own characters. That involves reading comprehension. You have to go through the book. You have to look at the instructions. You have to make sure you're doing your math right. You got to learn what disadvantages or advantages are. However, in this game, what we're doing is using pre-made characters. There are advantages and disadvantages to each type. Pre-made characters will help you go a little bit faster. If you also pre-make characters and there's something a specific student needs to work on, so math, you can give them like a math-heavy character. It just depends on what you want to do, but it is faster to do pre-made. It is more fun to let kids make their own characters.
It's interesting, and I got to talk about Jason's game, which is really cool. In the game, you're dreaming, and you have like a dream character, but then you also have a waking world character. So there's you in the dream, that's a role, and then there's you in the waking world, and they're related. And Jason was very interested in kind of addressing a disparity between the two, so that you might be dreaming that you're an old woman, but that your waking world character is a young boy, or vice versa, or something like that. So it gets into issues of body dysphoria. And in his game, he gives you options of making characters, both of the characters. What he kind of does is says, you can make your waking world character, which is like memories or very detailed, or you can roll for it randomly. So you don't know who you are in the waking world. You can make one of the cool things is like everyone can make up memories, and then you swap, and all of a sudden you like pass your character to the left, so that like Fiona would be playing Emily's character or something like that. And then what he does have that I limited for the play test was that normally you would draw 3 role cards, 3 role characters out of 100, and pick the one you want, so that there's a choice. But as Emily says, what's interesting on this is, and this relates to learning, between freeform, which is a lot of fun, or kind of leaning the kids towards a certain type of character or learning. And what happens, what I found in a lot of stuff is that, especially on educational, is that you want to, for some kids, they don't know what their choices are. They don't know like what the possibilities are. And so they might default to stereotypical things. So they say, I want to be a knight or a witch, and they're not aware of other possibilities that you'll see here because they just haven't been exposed to that. So a lot of times if you're saying free form, depending on the age level of the kid, they may not be well versed in fantasy books or science fiction books or whatever. And so they're going to say like, I want to be a Jedi because they only know that. So giving kids choices is hugely a great idea, is a huge thing, but you're controlling the choices that they have to choose from. So like I selected these characters, these 7 characters, and then wanted to give you guys, the players, a choice to pick them. So,
and even within all of, as a player, even when I was having to pick from this list of already made options, I still feel like I had so much freedom to create a style or a look or a feel for my character that was still all mine. So
yeah,
it may be faster, it still gives the opportunity to have imagination into play.
Yeah, and the characters weren't completely decided. In other words, the description is like, well, you would be like an apothecary, and that's it. And then that's it. Everything else you would decide what you look like, what you wear. Yeah, you had a name. You'd come with a name that's very generic, but other than that, your gender, your age, what you wear, all of that was up to the players. Only your name and your role was pre-decided, and your memories. So cool. Thank you, guys.
All right, so I absolutely love this clip as a used to be history teacher and English teacher. This is like the best clip.
And Cymbeline the midwife. Now,
what's a chandler?
What is a chandler? I was just going to ask. Are there any words that you don't understand there? A
Troubadour.
Troubadour.
That's you.
The chandler is a candle maker. This is a kind of late medieval, early medieval. Chandler is someone who Chandler is someone who makes candles. Troubadour is like a bard, a medieval lyric poet of the 11th to 13th centuries.
Ooh.
Do you guys know what a cobbler is?
Yeah.
Make shoes.
They make shoes.
Makes wooden shoes.
And a stable.
I want to be the apothecary.
Cobbler.
I want to be the soldier.
Best clip for 2 reasons. One, because it highlights how we as game masters do a very good job of introducing these concepts that someone might not know. And in so many role-playing games, there are so many parts of it that are just all about vocabulary. And I absolutely love it. So in this case, it was ancient or, medieval jobs, but nonetheless, we're learning not only about the vocabulary of what those jobs were, we're learning about the origin of words. And throughout this game, I love all that. But this was just such a great example of that and the game master experience of being like, it's okay, we don't know these words. Let's learn about them. Let's find what these are. And then everybody starts talking about them and wanting to get more interested. Like from this, these students could go home and want to research more about just what these words mean because they are these now. And that is present in so many role-playing games, in fantasy ones, in space ones, when you're learning about, space artifacts and different astronomical things that are really real. I love it all. And so it was just such a great part I want to highlight.
I love that you talk about history, Keenan, because one, that was my least favorite subject in school. I despised history and I didn't get interested. But the minute that Aaron made one of these characters, when I heard them, one of them could be me. Now it became personal. And I'm going, well, which one do I want to be? Well, I got to know what they are to decide. So now I'm interested in learning what these things are, where I never cared what a chandler or apothecary was until it pertained to me. And I think it's the same with any kind of subject where a student isn't normally very interested. Now, if we can play a game, make them interested because it pertains to them, now they learn. I think that's great.
Emily, did you want to add something?
I think a lot of this leads to intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
Extrinsic motivation being, I want to beat this thing because I want to get rewarded for it, whereas intrinsic motivation is something you want to do for the sake of you. And I think that's what Fiona's trying to say there, is that, you know, now she's interested in it. It's personal. It's intrinsic. It's something she wants to learn on her own. It's not, I have to learn this because I need to get a good grade. It's, I want to learn this because I want to learn this. This is something I'm going to do.
And that's going to teach the teachers so much more about the students and how to work with the students on their level.
And a final step with it that's super interesting is, as we play the game, I noticed very quickly that the actual, you know, roles of it don't matter that much. Like, by the end of it, it doesn't matter that they were a chandler or an apothecary. They all played the character, but they still want to do all this research about it. So it's like, it's such that you talk about intrinsic, that's intrinsic right there. Like, in the end, when you're playing the character, it still doesn't have anything to do with it, but they all wanted to find out about it. And it was just such a great piece.
Yeah, I totally love, and I don't know, I was going to put this in. The one thing that was really cool about this that I want to share with you guys is that a lot of this stuff hits Common Core standards. In other words, what's the, you know, very famous standards that we're using is called Common Core. This was just a small smattering of things that this game would hit. So you'll see the literacy, it's for under the literacy standards for 8th grade, that's the 8.1s, and 9th, 10th grade, 9th, 10th. So this slide is up here just for things that kids could be learning, applying knowledge of language to understand how language functions. You will see in these clips and stuff, when we get to like poetry and stuff, that especially with Common Core, and what's great about Common Core is that it's so fluid, and this is what you're trying to reach, but how you reach that standard is up to the teacher. And these games and role-playing games are an amazing, great way to do it. So we're already getting history, we're already getting language. These were just some of the ones that I got in this game here. So and that's another reason why I love this game. This one in particular, but all role-playing games can do this kind of thing with Common Core standards. It's pretty amazing. So let's look at the next one. Let's say your journals. Yep. So
in our
Herman,
brains.
this is going to appear. This is going to appear in your. It's at the top. It looks like a newspaper. It's a little icon that looks like a newspaper. Ooh, did I just say yes?
Here in our thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Or you can see it there.
Does anyone else want to be the apothecary? Because I think I would like to be apothecary.
Go for it.
Roll, Iyama.
Scott?
Memory.
No, I was thinking about the cobbler myself.
I'm gonna be I'll be the chandler. Why not? I'm gonna make some candles. I'll be the chandler.
Okay.
You will have the best candles, Vance.
I guess I gotta be the midwife.
Have the best candles.
We need a midwife on this mission, I feel, guys. We're gonna counter some babies that need to be born, and like, you should have been a midwife.
Hey.
And who's the cobbler?
It's an important job.
Vance?
Yeah.
Vance, you're a cobbler?
I was gonna be.
No, he's a chandler.
No.
The chandler.
Oh, the chandler.
I was gonna be the candle maker. The chandler.
Sorry.
I think Scott wants to be the cobbler.
Scott is the cobbler.
So in this clip, it's really interesting to me that Fiona starts with, does anybody else want to be the apothecary? So they're discussing amongst themselves who gets what character, and that's really encouraging discussion and making friends, and like, oh, I wanted to do that, but it's okay if you did it. No, I really want to do this character. It's very much negotiating. It's a new setting with new people. I know some of the people who are participating this time didn't really know each other. It's learning new skills, like taking turns and discussing who goes where, and it's very fair. It's introducing the concept of fairness.
Yeah, I love that. And we were all in that space where me and Herman specifically were having a real interesting time trying to learn, you know, like that newspaper at the top, trying to figure out how to make a journal and write down what we were thinking while all of that was going on. So it was kind of, you know, it was a very new experience. But by the end of the game, it was like, oh, okay, I can multitask.
What was what's really interesting about this that we got a little bit is you, our audience now are seeing us kind of with Roll20. So that was Roll20. Roll20.net is very popular, what's called a virtual tabletop game system. You can kind of play tabletop games over that, and I'm using that. And obviously we're now on Zoom. So this is unfortunately what learning is right now. We have a lot of Zoom classes that kids are taking, and we're using Roll20. There's Discord that kids are using. So one thing I want to talk about is that, like, there's issues with this new kind of learning, this online learning that we have to do due to the coronavirus. So there's a technical learning curve. There's definitely questions about accessibility on who has access to computers with a Wi-Fi that can run both Zoom, video streaming Zoom, and Roll20 tabletop or Discord or whatever it is. So that's an issue that we have to deal with, is accessibility. The other issue that comes in is just technical proficiency between the teachers or the students. The students are like, wait, what am I doing here? How do I edit this?
Herman and I had, out of all of the people playing, Herman and I both have kind of like a minute that we need to take when it comes to tech savvy stuff. And we'll overload. If there's too many screens on the screen, we're going to overload. And so there was definitely a moment where we both kind of panicked, but everyone there, it was, you know, it was almost like you have a panic attack in the middle of a class and you're worried about the test. Your friends are like, hey man, it's okay. We're all here. We can't, you know, we're all just playing on this. So it seemed pretty comfortable and we got a hang of it by the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And that happens. That's going to happen with kids and the teachers, as the teachers have to suddenly learn Zoom or Roll20 because they're suddenly forced in the situation. So that's another another issue. But however, despite these cons, I think that gaming has some advantages that can work within this game system. And the one that I'm really looking at, especially for games, is because if you think right now that so many kids are alone in their home, or they're with their, I should say, they're with their families, but they're not seeing their friends. And for kids this age, the socialization aspect is so critical for their development and their self-esteem. They want to talk to their friends. They want to see their friends. And so what's cool about the games that I really like is that you're with your friends. You can talk to your friends in character, in this safe thing, in this safe environment, and you're role playing, and you're not together, but you're still kind of going on adventures together, and you're talking to each other, and that is so critical. And what I love about games in this instance is that you're not just sitting there and you have to watch a teacher lecturing, right? So then it's like, look, my friend is at the screen next to me, but I can't talk to them. Whereas in a game environment, you actually want your friends to talk to each other. And one of the issues I had as a teacher was texting. Do I allow children to text each other through a chat window, right? So Zoom's got a chat and you can chat privately with them. And first I'm like, I want to know when they're talking to each other, but because they're so alone, I'm like, no, let them talk to each other. You know, if they're going to be doing whatever, let the kids talk to each other. That's far, far more important than, you know, say them being distracted, you know, by talking to each other. I think it's more important for them to be doing that. So there's a learning curve. There's a little bit of, you know, there could be a panic attack. However, the advantages of kids being able to talk to each other, and they're in a goal and they're working together, cooperating.
And then actually retaining the information and the knowledge that they're learning. The fact that when they are present, they will retain the knowledge because it's so personal to them, and it's, you know, the amount of work that they're putting in to talk to their friends over the class is, you know, now it's personal.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think that the pros outweigh the cons, and the cons eventually plateau away once practice is had.
Yeah.
And if I could add one more thing about that,
Yeah.
with just the Game Academy now itself has been doing games online. And what really that does is not only does it allow for social distancing, but even after social distancing is done, this is a way that people in the gaming community can reach each other when they're not next to each other. And the reality is, while I love being a gamer and we all love being gamers, we are still gamer people are still a small category of people who play RPGs. And sometimes when you're in areas, it's hard to find other people that want to play RPGs with you, and that everybody can get together at somebody's house a certain day of the week, or in the Game Academy, meet at the space at a certain day of the week. We've actually been able to open up how many people can play by, if they can overcome some of these difficulties, there is a place online for them. And Aaron, I know you're one of the game masters in the online setting right here. And I'm sure the students, once they overcome the technical barriers, are probably enjoying being able to play with their friends from the safety of their own home. And would you care to comment on that while we're here?
Yeah, it's definitely a huge thing that for special needs kids in some way. There are some problems in that, but it's also a really good way that kids can, talk to each other and they can enjoy the game and they're with their friends, and it is a safe sort of situation where they can step away for something. They're in their power. Like, this is, if they're getting overloaded, they can step away a little bit. I've had in my class teaching private messages from the kids. If they're upset about the behavior of another student, they can tell me privately in the private chat to, like, hey, this person's kind of bothering me. They're loud or they're distracting. And what's great is one time they were policing themselves. So I was talking and one of the kids was doing some meme or something. The other kid's like, can you please, stop? We're listening. So it was, and he did, and he went back. So I found that the kids do enjoy this a lot. And with kids for special needs, this is a great easing in of it that's happening. So yeah, absolutely.
Especially for the times right now, you guys. I mean, policing ourselves, that's what we're learning about.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of interesting that that's something that is probably, helpful for students at a young age.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think digital literacy is really important. I hate to kind of segue this a little bit off to the left, but one of the things Aaron says in the video is, at the top, it looks like a newspaper. Some kids don't know what newspapers are anymore. I've had a couple students who were, older, 6th grade, were like, what's the newspaper? And I think it's important to discuss like tech issues. So what do you do if you're being bullied online? What do you do if we read something, and how do we evaluate the news and the information that we're digesting? How do we know that the source is credible? And it's an easy way to teach kids like digital literacy. And it's especially easy online too, especially with what Aaron was mentioning, like, oh, if they can private message each other and stuff. Well, if somebody's bullying somebody else over private messages, how do you handle that? It's a completely different way than if you would handle bullying person to person. So a lot of it is just being able to adjust to this. And I think it's also getting the kids to be able to adjust to this too, and having the flexibility to be able to do both.
And
Yeah.
And to piggyback,
No, go ahead, Keenan.
to piggyback off there real quickly, because I used to work in digital literacy, that's what I was doing in technology at the schools. Digital literacy standards are part of the education that we are teaching students right now. And what you just said there, Emily, those are standards that are coming down the line that we are needing to make sure every student knows how to do. And you highlighted it right there, and thank you. So those are standards in there for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Even in that, and obviously kids learning this and referring to like click and drag, or this is in your journal and how do you edit it, and the game and using this is helping all these things. This is great.
Love it.
Let's move on to the next one.
The cycle of this is beautiful, but also unbreaking. So she's always sailing over the endless sea, desiring for freedom.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. This is awesome. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. I am Athok, the apothecary, and I have visions from another lifetime of very scary, nightmarish things. I have images of hell and monsters eating men and naked figures crawling around giant lyres and knives. And I don't know what to make of it, but I know I'm connected to another world. And I always feel that I'm like walking around like the harbors searching for like maybe someone who sees the same visions that I see. And I also, while I'm there, I make money by healing people and like selling my potions. And I have lots of layers on, but when it gets really, really hot outside, I don't go out because I have scars all over my body. And my skin is like almost translucent. I'm so pale. And the scars are like kind of like I don't know, like white maggoty kind of. I don't know. It's just not a very pretty sight.
So you like the foggy mornings,
Yes, when it's
where
foggy,
the cold,
that's my
damp
time.
fog
Yes,
covers
I'm
everything,
out there.
which happens
I'm
all
out
the time in a Cisalon.
Mhm.
Very
I'm Sambaleni, the midwife, also known as a notorious STM. There isn't a baby that I haven't gotten delivered. My whole family lineage is from the warrior family, so I'm like super tan and hard body and like ripped, you know, but all the men kept dying in war, so they needed someone to deliver all these babies for all the people who were, you know, left behind. And I have this special skill to really connect to anyone, know things about their past, even their like families, you know, just through my special powers. And I can haggle and persuade any species that is able to get pregnant. And I'm a lover, not a fighter. So if we have to get out of situations, I know like all the exit routes and how to get ourselves out of situations without using violence. Peace.
a peaceful gangster that's ripped. That's
That's what
awesome.
it is.
Awesome, Shane. Thank you.
Scott portraying Mohantis. He sort of like Fiona's character. He has translucent skin, but it's like perfect. And you can see right through it. Like it's totally clear. And he is a cobbler, so he spends most of his time making and repairing shoes. But he also always wears like hoods, gloves, long sleeves to conceal his skin because there aren't many people that look like him at all. He was raised by a family of cobblers in a Cisalon at the base of the Seventh Hill. And he wanted to learn about his origins from an early age, but his parents died in an accident before they could tell him where he comes from. And the only peace he finds is when he's making designs for new shoes.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Awesome, guys.
What I love so much is, and I'm forgetting names, the person in the last clip of it, and forgive me, I lost
Scott.
the name.
Scott?
Scott. Seeing Scott want to describe this character he's making that is different than him, and expressing that in a way and being allowed to express it is, and being welcomed in that in the community is such a powerful moment, especially in the world today, as this is a major news topic around the world about people being, you know, racism is a topic right now. And therein lies a way that we could, right there, between two characters who are very much outcasts, we can talk about the topic of racism even in a safe space where people want to talk about it from both the victim's standpoint, which is, it might feel uncomfortable, but it's a great psychological learning experience for them and a great lesson for how to understand the times that just happened right there. And I thought it was great.
The thing right now is that history has taught us racism, this thing that exists, right? But if we're learning about story and people through gameplay, then it's like children who don't see color, right? All we see are there's translucent skin and dark skin and thick skin and opaque skin. There's all different kinds. And we already accept that. And we know that our character, the apothecary or the medic, those roles actually have nothing to do with the skin color that we choose for our character. And so we're already getting to experience in story how it should be, right? The separation between how we're treated versus the design that we are.
Well,
so yeah, I agree.
To take that, I want to actually take the one step different that I really like, and I love what you said, is by being races like that, you could tell they wanted to experience the act of being in a way persecuted for how
Or
they
different, yeah.
Or different, yeah.
We
And
want
that,
to feel different.
correct, and that is almost even more important, I think, than sometimes the lesson we get from the games of be whatever your skin, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is, in role-playing games, you could have an experience of life that you wouldn't have in possibly your own makeup and worldview that you have.
Yeah,
And
I
thought that was
immediately
great right
felt
there.
myself on this shore, and
Yeah.
people were judging me, and I was hideous to the world, right? And I know that that's not how I feel in day-to-day life, but I immediately stepped into those shoes. Yeah, totally.
And the Dreamland is great for doing that, right? The idea, the fantasy, the fiction of this game is that it's all one human dreamland. We're all human, but then the skins are different and the gender's different. What people wear are different and the culture's different and each city is different. And like it all happens, we're all human together and we just have these amazing variations. And Jason's research and everything on this game is amazing because he takes fantasy, not just European kind of Lord of the Rings fantasy, but East Asian and
Eastern.
Central American and, African and South American. Like it's all in the dream. It's wonderful. Fun.
I was reading it on the screen.
Come on.
Okay.
We're at a slam here.
Let me do it. Let me take my time. Okay. It was mysterious, the horror. I was curious in the evening. The rumors were holy. The romance was leaving. It felt like wonder and dying. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's all.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So everyone applaud. Yep. So everyone applauds. And let's see what we get. So you used 8 words, it looks like.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I used 8 words. 1, 2,
Mysterious
3, 4, 5 of them lined up with my memories.
So
And
that's 13. And then we have one rhyme. So that'll be a 14. So just
You guys,
right, I'm
did
pausing.
you see all of that math that I was doing?
yay, Fiona.
I was counting words, numbers and words together usually don't mix, but I was doing it, you guys.
What's amazing, that was the mechanic for Dreamland. So I'll kind of explain that. We got a lot of things to talk about this. Real quick, what it was there are certain words that are from a deck that you draw from a deck that are chosen. And when you make a speech using those words, you get bonuses to your die roll. So you're rolling a dice. For every word you use, you get a bonus. And then in this case, it was a poetry contest. The scenario features a poetry contest. And the rules of the poetry contest were you get a +1 for every word you use, and then +1 for every rhyme that you use. And then if you use a word that's attached to one of your memories, which is part of the character, you also get a bonus. So there's basically what's so amazing about this mechanic is you're dealing with, like, you're having the kids use certain words in a certain fashion. So they're constructing sentences using vocabulary words. They're learning about the words themselves. They're constructing sentences or poems, learning about rhyme, learning about how to attach words. Some of the words can be different contexts. All these things hit these Common Core language standards like really hard. So that's one reason why I love this game so much, because it has these things in it.
I think not not to mention too, it's that it's really encouraging kids to get into stuff that they may not be into. I know at the beginning of this, Fiona was like, this is so hard. I don't know what to do. But because it's part of the game and because you have to hit all these components of it, it doesn't matter if it's bad or not, as long as there's no losses in it. So it's encouraging kids to really be artistic, take risks, do what you can to earn anything you can for the rest of the group. So there's no risk. I know, like, when I had an art assignment at school, I would be like, oh crap, because now I have to draw something and everyone's going to judge me for it. With this kind of thing, because you're playing a game, there really isn't that kind of judgment. Everybody's, applauding. You got to work with your constraints, and that's your excuse if it's bad, is I had to work with my constraints, but you're still getting points, so nobody really criticizes you for it, and you'll get better with it with practice. So it's not necessary to be perfect off the get-go.
And to add with that, this is gamification 101, and it's like great way of how it affects learning. We are incentivizing people to want to use poetry, and they did it perfectly. And that idea of someone being nervous about it and scared, and then boom, this amazing, really cool poem comes out. And then you talk about it as a, like, for teachers, you can pause the entire, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. Grading, but I hate the word grading. Assessment. This is an assessment piece right here. You can assess the poem, and you have a rubric right there already. You created a rubric inside the game that you can use to assess poetry. And the beauty of it is, it doesn't have to do with how elegant the poem was. Everybody can get a great grade off that poem because if they meet the points that we're trying to get them on what poetry is. So we're guiding them to proper poetry design too.
The game provided the words, right? So it's like, it's all, if you participate, you win.
Yeah, very much this one, when I ran this with kids, a couple things I did is I said, it's not how good your presentation is, your words, it's just that you use the words, that you understand the definition of the word, so you use the word correctly, you're understanding the definition. And then secondly, I made it a requirement that everyone applauds after anyone does a speech. So I told my kids when I was running this, and told you guys, applaud every time someone does this, okay? Wherever they only use 2 words or 3 words. And I had one when I was running it with kids, I had a very shy girl who didn't want to do it. And I said, well, just use like 2 words, just use 2 words. And she made a speech as part of the mechanics, use the words. And I said, okay, everybody's got to applaud. And she applauded, and that she switched in that moment, like literally. And then she jumped into the game. She was using her words all the time. And I pushed her, it was a little bit of like, I have to push you a little bit, but you're going to get positively reinforced because your character's going to get things done because you use the words. You're going to get reinforcement from your peers, from the teacher.
I felt that. I personally felt that. Scott did I can't remember who did a poem before me, but it was amazing. And mine wasn't anywhere near as amazing as what theirs was going to be. So I immediately got nervous, even though I'm a performer. So then once I finished the poem, I didn't love it, and it didn't feel like mine. I just felt like I said some words and it was fine, but whatever. But once everyone started clapping, I felt like I did the same kind of job that he did.
Yeah. It's a huge benefit for this in this cooperative game that they're using words and stuff. It's amazing.
Why wasn't this kind of education around when I was a kid?
Sorry. So thank you very much. Do we have any other final thoughts on this?
Digital literacy and being able to adapt to technology is very important, and obviously it can be done in the classroom. It can also be done in a very fun way that's not just, oh, this is how you type things. And it is something that every teacher should be looking forward to integrating into their classroom.
Even while role-playing games is the way I think we could emphasize it the most. If you get out of this that you can do small little games that can encourage even the shyest or most struggling student to engage in it because they're in this game-like environment, that was shown so many times here, from understanding characters by being one that is different than who you are, to the poetry right there, where we are incentivizing the creation of engaging poems, finding a way to engage students in this game-like way is so powerful, and I saw it throughout this whole thing.
I agree. I really feel like there's a couple spaces of learning for me. There's a space where it's very digital, tech heavy. I'm focused. I'm not talking or playing or laughing a lot. I'm very focused. The other space is when I'm playing. I'm listening, I'm jumping, I'm dancing, I'm singing. Both of these places I'm learning. But with RPGs, and especially RPGs in a digital setting, I'm taking those two spaces and I'm learning as one. I'm learning how to focus and multitask and be tech savvy while simultaneously listening, having empathy with my heart and my brain. Those two things I've never used together. I've never learned together. And I think that's like the new kind of curriculum for students in this digital new age that we live in.
I would love to suggest that this kind of game-based learning, whether it's online or a tabletop, is really powerful. And that if you're a teacher, you're a homeschooler, you're a parent, you're an instructor of any kind, you should seriously be considering role-playing games and tabletop games and board games and video games for many reasons that we discussed. The opportunities are huge.
You know, people are catching on, guys. Nice to catch on. Get on the wagon with us.
There's a growing body of literature, academic literature, on how this works for many reasons on kids, you know, really high performing kids, kids who have special needs, that this can handle a lot of material, and it's a wonderful way of doing it. So thank you very much for everyone for watching. Our links, if you want to get in touch with us, will be in the description. Please check out the Game Academy. We're doing classes online, thegameacademy.org. We're all with that. You can join from anywhere into our many games that we're doing. Please, everyone, stay safe, keep learning, and thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.